Once upon a time, there lived a lady in a village called Ifeoma. Ifeoma had always been patient, waiting for the day the gods would show her who her true love was. Like many young women in the village, she visited the prophet's shrine to seek wisdom. The prophet was old, with a voice that carried the weight of decades, but his words were often like riddles. That day, however, his message was clear. "You will marry a man named Ike," he said, his voice calm and certain. "He will be strong, courageous, and loyal. With him, you will build a family and know happiness." Ifeoma's heart raced, her mind replaying the name, Ike. The relief that swept over her was like a cool breeze on a hot day. She bowed in gratitude to the prophet and left, feeling the weight of the future settle gently on her shoulders. The village was abuzz with life as Ifeoma returned from the prophet's shrine. Her heart was light, and her thoughts were filled with images of the man she would one day marry. "Ike," she whispered to herself as she walked, a smile spreading across her face. Surely, the gods had chosen well for her. Now it was just a matter of time until fate would bring them together. A few weeks passed, and to her surprise, 5 new men arrived in the village, strangers from neighboring lands who had come to settle and trade. Each of them was tall, handsome, and confident, the type of man any young woman would take an interest in. But what left Ifeoma completely bewildered was the fact that all 5 of them shared the same name, Ike. The prophecy had not prepared her for this. How could she know which one was truly meant for her? The first Ike that caught Ifeoma's attention was Ike the blacksmith. His muscles rippled as he worked at the forge, hammering metal with precision and strength. He had a hearty laugh that echoed through the village, and his hands, though calloused, seemed capable of creating beautiful things from raw iron. His eyes sparkled whenever he caught her gaze. Ifeoma spent more time near his workshop, curious about this man whose strength was evident in everything he did. One afternoon, he invited her inside, offering her a seat as he explained the process of making tools and weapons. She marveled at his craftsmanship, his hands moving with practiced grace. There was a warmth in his smile that made her heart skip a beat, but deep down, she wondered if his strength alone was enough to sustain the love she sought. Days turned into weeks, and Ifeoma continued to visit Ike the blacksmith. She admired his hard work and the way he treated the villagers with kindness. He made tools for the elderly, repaired farming equipment, and always found time to help those in need. His strength wasn't just physical, it was also in the way he carried the weight of others' burdens without complaint. However, as much as Ifeoma admired him, something was missing. Their conversations never seemed to go beyond the surface. Ike loved to talk about his work, but when it came to deeper matters, dreams, fears, love, he would become quiet, almost distant. Ifeoma found herself longing for a connection that went beyond the forge and the strength of his hands. The second Ike that intrigued Ifeoma was Ike the storyteller. He was different from the blacksmith in almost every way. While the blacksmith was grounded in the physical world, Ike the storyteller lived in a world of words and imagination. His voice was smooth, and when he spoke, people gathered around to listen. His tales were like honey, sweet and captivating, and Ifeoma found herself hanging on every word. They would sit under the old baobab tree, and he would weave stories of great adventures, brave warriors, and wise elders. Ifeoma loved how his stories transported her to other worlds, and she often found herself laughing or holding her breath in suspense. Yet, as much as she enjoyed his stories, she began to wonder if there was more to him than just his words. Could their relationship exist outside the realm of fantasy? As Ifeoma spent more time with Ike the storyteller, she began to ask him about himself, his past, his dreams, and his hopes for the future. But each time she asked, he would deflect, spinning another tale or offering a clever response that avoided her question. It was as if he was hiding behind his stories, never letting her see the real man beneath the words. One day, She pressed him, asking him to tell her a story not about faraway lands, but about his own heart. He smiled but remained elusive. "Ifeoma, life is the greatest story of all," he said, but his words left her feeling unsatisfied. She realized that while she loved his stories, she wanted more from him, something real, something tangible. Without that, she couldn't be sure he was the Ike the prophet had spoken of. The third Ike was Ike the hunter, a man of few words but immense skill. He was quiet, reserved, and mysterious, his dark eyes always scanning the horizon as if searching for something unseen. Ifeoma found herself drawn to his calm presence. Unlike the storyteller, Ike the hunter didn't need words to make an impression. His actions spoke for him, swift, precise, and always purposeful. Ike the hunter invited her on walks through the forest, where he taught her about the land and its creatures. She admired the way he moved silently through the trees, his senses attuned to the world around him. In his company, Ifeoma felt a deep peace, but at the same time, she wondered if his silence would one day leave her feeling lonely. Could a relationship survive on such quiet contentment? As they spent more time together, Ifeoma grew to appreciate Ike the hunter's quiet wisdom. He showed her how to read the tracks of animals, how to listen to the wind for clues about the weather, and how to respect the balance of nature. In many ways, his connection to the earth grounded her, giving her a sense of stability she hadn't found with the other Ikes. But as much as she enjoyed the peace of the forest, Ifeoma couldn't ignore the feeling that something was missing. She craved conversation, shared dreams, and the kind of connection that came from deep understanding. While Ike the hunter provided her with a sense of security, she wasn't sure if his silence would be enough to fill the spaces in her heart. Next was Ike the farmer, a man whose connection to the earth ran even deeper than the hunter's. His hands were always dirty, but his heart was pure. He had a gentle way of speaking, and his eyes reflected the patience of a man who knew that growth took time. When Ifeoma first visited his farm, she was struck by the beauty of the land, lush, green, and full of life. Ike the farmer took her around the fields, showing her how to plant seeds, tend to crops, and care for the land. Something was coming about his presence, a steadiness that made Ifeoma feel at home. She could picture a future with him, one filled with family, hard work, and the quiet satisfaction of building something together. But as much as she loved the peace of his word, she couldn't help but wonder if it was too simple for the kind of love she dreamed of. Ifeoma continued to spend her days with Ike the farmer, helping him with the harvest and learning more about the rhythms of the land. His kindness extended beyond the fields. He was always helping neighbors with their crops, offering advice, or lending a hand when needed. His life was one of service, not just to the earth, but to those around him. While Ifeoma admired his dedication and the peaceful life he offered, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. The simplicity of his word was comforting, but her heart longed for a spark, something more passionate, something that would make her feel alive. As much as she enjoyed the quiet moments with Ike the farmer, she wondered if he could ever ignite the fire in her soul. The last of the 5 Ikes was Ike the trader, a man whose life was filled with adventure and excitement. Unlike the other Ikes, he was constantly on the move, traveling from village to village, bringing back exotic goods and tales from far-off lands. When he spoke of his travels, his eyes gleamed with excitement, and Ifeoma found herself intrigued by the world beyond her village. One evening, Ike the trader invited her to see the goods he had brought back from his latest journey. She marveled at the beautiful fabrics, shining beads, and spices from distant lands. His charm was undeniable, and she felt a rush of excitement as he spoke of the adventures they could have together. But while his word of trade and travel seemed thrilling, Ifeoma wondered if it came with stability. Would he ever settle down long enough to build a life with her? Ifeoma continued to spend time with Ike the trader, joining him on trips to neighboring villages and marketplaces. She was swept up in the excitement of new sights and sounds, the energy of bustling crowds, and the thrill of haggling for goods. It was a life far removed from the quiet rhythms of the farm or the peaceful walks in the forest. Yet, as the weeks passed, Ifeoma began to see the challenges that came with Ike the trader's lifestyle. He was always thinking of his next deal, his next trip, his next adventure. Though he cared for her, she could see that his heart was tied to his business as much as it was to her. She couldn't help but wonder if, in his world of constant movement, there would be room for the kind of deep, lasting love she desired. With all 5 Ikes vying for her attention, Ifeoma found herself more confused than ever. Each man had qualities she admired: strength, charm, wisdom, stability, and excitement, but none of them seemed to possess everything she was looking for. The blacksmith's strength made her feel safe, but his emotional distance left her yearning for more. The storyteller's charm entertained her, but his lack of vulnerability made her question their connection. The hunter's quiet wisdom brought her peace, but his silence left her feeling isolated. The farmer's steady care made her feel at home, but his simplicity made her wonder if their life would lack passion. And the trader's exciting world filled her with a sense of adventure, but his wandering heart left her uncertain about his commitment. How could the prophet's words be true when each Ike seemed to have only part of what she sought? Desperate for answers, Ifeoma decided to return to the prophet. She needed clarity, a sign, something to help her choose. As she made her way to the shrine, her heart pounded with anticipation. She hoped the prophet could help her see which Ike was truly meant for her. But when she arrived, her heart sank. The prophet had passed away the day before. The shrine was empty, save for a few mourners paying their respects. Ifeoma stood in shock, her mind spinning with disbelief. The man who had foretold her future was gone, and with him, the answers she had been seeking. Now, the decision was hers to make, and for the first time, she realized just how heavy that responsibility felt. With the prophet gone, Ifeoma turned to her friends and family for advice. She spoke to her mother, who had always been her guiding light, and asked what she thought about the 5 Ikes. Her mother listened patiently, nodding as Ifeoma described each man in detail. When she was done, her mother smiled gently. "My daughter," she said, "love is not something that can be decided by another. It is something you must feel in your heart. Each of these men has good qualities, but only you can know which one makes your heart truly sing." Ifeoma felt a wave of frustration wash over her. She had hoped for a clear answer, but instead, she was left with more questions. Could her heart really tell her which Ike was the one? That night, Ifeoma had a dream. She was standing at the edge of a vast river, and on the other side stood the 5 Ikes. Each one called to her, their voices blending into a chorus that echoed in her mind. She wanted to cross the river, to choose one of them, but every time she stepped into the water, it seemed to pull her in different directions. The current was too strong, and she couldn't move forward. When she awoke, her heart was heavy with uncertainty. The dream seemed to reflect her own confusion. But as the sun rose, she felt a new determination. If the prophet could no longer guide her, and if her friends could not choose for her, then it was time for her to take matters into her own hands. She would spend more time with each Ike, learning not just about them, but about herself. Only then could she find the man who was truly meant for her. Ifeoma decided to start with Ike the blacksmith. She spent an entire day in his workshop, watching him shape metal into tools and weapons. His strength and skill were impressive, and she admired the way he worked tirelessly for the village. But as the day went on, Ifeoma began to feel that their connection remained shallow. They talked about his work, about the village, but never about themselves, their dreams, or their fears. When the day ended, Ike walked her home. As they parted ways, Ifeoma felt a sense of sadness. She realized that while she respected and admired Ike the blacksmith, she didn't feel the deep emotional connection she longed for. His strength was comforting, but it wasn't enough to make her heart soar. She knew then that he was not the Ike the prophet had spoken of. Next, Ifeoma returned to Ike the storyteller. As always, his charm was undeniable, and he greeted her with a new tale to tell. They sat beneath the baobab tree, the wind rustling the leaves as he spun stories of distant lands and heroic deeds. For a moment, Ifeoma was lost in the magic of his words, but then she remembered why she was there. "Ike," she said, interrupting his story, "I want to know the truth. Not a story, but the truth about you. What do you want for your future? Where do you see us?" Ike paused, his eyes flickering with uncertainty. He hesitated for a moment before replying. "The future is like a story yet to be written, Ifeoma," he said softly. "I cannot say where it will take us." Once again, Ifeoma felt the disappointment settle in. She needed more than stories, she needed honesty and vulnerability. And with Ike the storyteller, she wasn't sure she would ever find that. Ifeoma then turned her attention to Ike the hunter. They met at the edge of the forest, where he greeted her with his usual quiet nod. They walked in silence for a long time, the sounds of the forest filling the air around them. There was a peacefulness to Ike the hunter, a calm that made Ifeoma feel grounded. But the silence, though comforting at first, began to feel like a barrier between them. As they sat by the river, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Ifeoma asked him about his dreams. "What do you want for your life, Ike?" she asked softly. He glanced at her, his expression thoughtful. "I want to live simply, to hunt, to be at peace with the land," he said quietly. While his words were sincere, Ifeoma realized that the life he described was one of solitude. She wanted more companionship, conversation, a life shared with someone who would open their heart to her. And Ike the hunter, for all his wisdom, was too reserved for the love she sought. Next, Ifeoma returned to Ike the farmer. As always, his gentle nature and steady presence made her feel at ease. They worked side by side in the fields, tending to the crops and caring for the animals. It was a peaceful, fulfilling day, and Ifeoma found herself imagining what life with Ike the farmer might be like, quiet, steady, filled with the rhythm of the land. But as the day came to a close, Ifeoma felt a familiar ache in her heart. While she admired Ike the farmer's kindness and dedication, she couldn't shake the feeling that their life together would lack the passion and excitement she desired. She wanted more than just a peaceful existence, she wanted a love that would set her soul on fire. And though she cared for Ike the farmer, she wasn't sure he could give her that. Ifeoma's next stop was with Ike the trader. He invited her to join him on a trip to a nearby village, and she eagerly accepted, hoping that the excitement of travel might help her see him in a new light. The journey was filled with laughter and adventure, and Ifeoma couldn't deny that she enjoyed the thrill of it all. Ike the trader had a way of making life feel exciting and full of possibilities. But as the days went on, Ifeoma began to see the cracks in their relationship. Ike the trader was always thinking about his next deal, his next destination. While he cared for her, it was clear that his heart was tied to the road. Ifeoma realized that as much as she loved the excitement of his world, she needed someone who would be fully present, someone who would build a life with her, not just offer fleeting moments of adventure. And Ike the trader, for all his charm, wasn't that person. By now, Ifeoma was more confused than ever. She had spent time with each Ike, and while she admired and respected all of them, none seemed to be the perfect match the prophet had foretold. Each man had qualities she loved, but none seemed to possess everything she was looking for. She began to doubt the prophecy, wondering if the true Ike even existed. As she sat in her hut that evening, her thoughts racing, Ifeoma realized that she couldn't rely on anyone else to make this decision for her, not the prophet, not her friends, not even the Ikes themselves. The answer, she knew, had to come from within her. But how could she choose when her heart felt so torn? The next day, Ifeoma received an unexpected visit from an old woman in the village. The woman had heard of her dilemma and came to offer her wisdom. "My child," the old woman said, Love is not always about choosing the perfect person. It is about finding someone whose soul speaks to yours, someone who will walk beside you through life's challenges and joys. Ifeoma listened closely, her heart aching with the truth of the old woman's words. "But how will I know?" she asked, her voice trembling with uncertainty. The old woman smiled gently. "You will know, not with your mind, but with your heart. When the time comes, your heart will tell you who the real Ike is." With the old woman's words echoing in her mind, Ifeoma felt a new sense of determination. She realized that she had been overthinking the decision, trying to find the perfect man based on logic and reason. But love, she understood now, wasn't something that could be measured or calculated. It was something that came from the heart, something that couldn't be explained. She decided to spend more time with each Ike, not looking for perfection, but listening to her heart. She would pay attention to the way each man made her feel, the way their souls connected. Only then, she believed, would she find the true Ike. Ifeoma started with Ike the trader, joining him once more on a trip to the market. As always, his energy was infectious, and she found herself caught up in the excitement of bargaining and trading. But this time, she paid closer attention to her feelings. She realized that while she enjoyed the thrill of the market, it wasn't something she wanted for the rest of her life. As they walked through the crowded streets, Ifeoma's heart remained still. There was no spark, no deep connection that made her feel like Ike the trader was the one. She smiled as he told her about his next journey, but inside, she knew that their paths were not meant to merge. Next, Ifeoma spent an evening with Ike the farmer. They sat together on the porch of his modest home, watching the sun set over the fields. The quiet peace of the moment filled Ifeoma with a sense of calm, and for a moment, she wondered if this was enough. Could she live a life of simple contentment with Ike the farmer? But as the night grew darker, Ifeoma felt a stirring in her heart. She realized that while she appreciated the peace Ike the farmer offered, she needed more than just calm. She needed passion, excitement, and a connection that went deeper than the earth they walked on. And as much as she cared for him, she knew that Ike the farmer was not the one. Ifeoma then spent an evening with Ike the hunter, walking through the forest as the stars twinkled above them. The silence between them was comfortable, but as the night wore on, Ifeoma realized that it was too quiet. She longed for conversation, for the sharing of dreams and fears, for a connection that went beyond the physical world. As they sat by the river, Ifeoma felt a deep sadness settle in her heart. Ike the hunter was a good man, but his world was too solitary for her. She needed someone who would share his heart with her, someone who would walk beside her not just in silence, but in love. And Ike the hunter, for all his wisdom, was not that man. Ifeoma returned to Ike the blacksmith next, watching as he worked at his forge. His strength was undeniable, and she admired the way he shaped metal with such skill and precision. But as the hours passed, Ifeoma found herself longing for something more than just strength. She needed emotional connection, vulnerability, a deeper understanding of one another. When the day ended, Ifeoma realized that while she respected Ike the blacksmith, he could not give her the love she desired. His strength was admirable, but it was not enough to build the kind of relationship she wanted. With a heavy heart, she said goodbye, knowing that he was not the one the prophet had spoken of. Finally, Ifeoma returned to Ike the storyteller, hoping that this time, he would open his heart to her. They sat beneath the baobab tree, as they had many times before, and Ike began to tell another tale. But this time, Ifeoma interrupted him. "Ike," she said, her voice soft but firm, "I don't want stories anymore. I want the truth. Tell me about your heart." Ike hesitated, his eyes flickering with uncertainty. For a moment, it seemed as though he might finally open up to her, but then he smiled and said, "Life is a story, Ifeoma. We are all just characters in it." With those words, Ifeoma knew that Ike the storyteller would never be able to give her the vulnerability she craved. He was too lost in his stories to share his true self with her. Ifeoma returned home that night, her heart heavy with the weight of her decision. She had spent time with each Ike, and while she admired and respected all of them, none seemed to be the man the prophet had foretold. She sat by the fire, the old woman's words echoing in her mind, "You will know, not with your mind, but with your heart." As she sat in silence, Ifeoma felt a stirring in her heart, a quiet whisper that she had been ignoring. She realized that she had been looking for perfection, for a man who had all the qualities she desired. But love, she understood now, wasn't about finding someone who was perfect. It was about finding someone whose heart spoke to hers, someone who made her feel seen, heard, and loved. Sitting in the quiet of her heart, Ifeoma began to understand that none of the Ikes could be the perfect man she had imagined. Each one was flawed, each one had something lacking. Yet, each one also had something special. Her search for the ideal man had clouded her vision, preventing her from seeing the truth right in front of her. That night, as Ifeoma lay on her mat, she allowed herself to think not with her mind, but with her heart. She replayed her memories with each of the Ikes, not focusing on what they lacked but on how they made her feel. She felt herself drawn to one man more than the others, not because he was perfect, but because he made her feel whole. The next morning, Ifeoma found herself walking toward Ike the farmer's house. Of all the Ikes, he had been the one whose steadiness and quiet care had made her feel the most at peace. She remembered how calm she felt in his presence, how their time together was filled with a kind of simple joy. As she approached his farm, she saw him tending to his crops, his face lit with the warm glow of the early morning sun. When he looked up and saw her, his expression softened, and he smiled. In that moment, Ifeoma felt something in her heart shift. It wasn't a grand realization or an overwhelming rush of passion. It was a quiet, steady knowing. Ike the farmer may not have been perfect, but he was perfect for her. Ifeoma spent the day with Ike the farmer, helping him with his work and enjoying the simple pleasures of life on the farm. As they worked side by side, she realized that their connection ran deeper than she had initially thought. There was a quiet strength in him, a kind of love that didn't need grand gestures or elaborate words. It was a love built on trust, respect, and companionship. That evening, as they sat together watching the sunset, Ifeoma felt a deep sense of contentment. She realized that the excitement and passion she had been seeking could be found in the quiet moments, in the steady rhythm of life. Ike the farmer wasn't the man she had imagined, but he was the man she had been searching for all along. As the night drew in, Ifeoma and Ike the farmer sat together on his porch, the stars twinkling above them. For the first time, Ifeoma felt ready to open her heart fully to him. "Ike," she began softly, "I've spent so much time searching for the perfect man, thinking I needed excitement and passion. But I've realized something." He turned to her, his eyes filled with quiet understanding. "What have you realized, Ifeoma?" he asked, his voice gentle. "I've realized that love isn't about grand adventures or constant excitement. It's about finding someone who makes you feel safe, someone who you can trust to be there through all of life's challenges. And with you, Ike, I feel that. I feel at home." Ike the farmer's face softened, and he reached for Ifeoma's hand. "Ifeoma," he said quietly, "I've cared for you since the first day we met. I may not be a man of grand words or stories, but I know what's in my heart. I want to build a life with you, to share the quiet moments and the challenges, to grow with you." His words were simple, but they were filled with sincerity. Ifeoma felt her heart swell with emotion. For the first time, she truly understood what love meant. It wasn't about finding someone who checked off every box on a list of qualities. It was about finding someone whose soul spoke to yours, someone who made you feel understood and cherished. That evening, as the stars twinkled above them and the sounds of the village drifted through the air, Ike the farmer turned to Ifeoma with a quiet determination. "Ifeoma," he said, his voice steady and filled with emotion. "I know that life with me may not be filled with the adventures you imagined, but I promise you this, I will love you with all that I am. Will you marry me?" Ifeoma's heart skipped a beat. She had spent so much time searching for the perfect Ike, but in that moment, she knew that Ike the farmer was the one who truly saw her, who truly loved her for who she was. With tears in her eyes and a smile on her lips, she nodded. "Yes, Ike. I will marry you." The news of Ifeoma and Ike the farmer's engagement spread quickly through the village, and soon everyone was preparing for the celebration. The village elders blessed their union, and the women gathered to prepare food and decorations for the wedding. The excitement in the air was palpable, and Ifeoma felt a sense of peace settle over her. As the days passed, Ifeoma and Ike spent more time together, planning their future and preparing for their life as husband and wife. They spoke of the family they would build, the home they would create, and the love that would guide them through it all. Ifeoma's heart was filled with a quiet joy, knowing that she had found the man who was truly meant for her. The day of the wedding arrived, and the village was alive with celebration. The women adorned Ifeoma in beautiful traditional attire, her hair intricately braided and her skin glowing with happiness. Ike the farmer, too, was dressed in his finest clothes, his face alight with a joy that could not be contained. As Ifeoma walked down the path toward the altar, her heart swelled with emotion. The prophet's words echoed in her mind, and she realized that while the journey had been difficult, it had led her to exactly where she was meant to be. As she stood beside Ike, she knew without a doubt that he was the man the prophet had spoken of, the man whose heart was truly hers. Under the watchful eyes of the village and the blessings of the elders, Ifeoma and Ike the farmer exchanged their vows. Their words were simple, but they carried the weight of a love that had been tested and had grown stronger through the journey. Ifeoma promised to stand by Ike's side through all of life's challenges, to love him with all her heart, and to build a life filled with joy and peace. Ike, in turn, promised to cherish Ifeoma, to honor her spirit and her strength, and to build a home where their love could grow. As they sealed their vows with a kiss, the village erupted in cheers, and Ifeoma felt a wave of happiness wash over her. She had found her true Ike, and their future together was just beginning. After the wedding, Ifeoma and Ike the farmer settled into their new life together. They worked side by side on the farm, tending to the crops and caring for the animals. Their days were filled with the simple pleasures of life, shared meals, quiet conversations, and moments of laughter that made the work seem lighter. Ifeoma found herself falling more deeply in love with Ike each day. His quiet strength, his unwavering support, and his deep love for her made her feel cherished in a way she had never experienced before. She realized that she had been searching for something outside of herself, when all along, what she truly needed was right in front of her. Though Ifeoma had found her true Ike, the other Ikes remained a part of her life. Each of them had respected her decision and wished her happiness, but they too had been changed by the journey. Ike the blacksmith, Ike the storyteller, Ike the hunter, and Ike the trader all found their own paths, each learning from their time with Ifeoma. Ike the blacksmith became more open with his emotions, finding love with a woman in the village who appreciated his strength and vulnerability. Ike the storyteller learned to balance his love for stories with the need for truth, eventually finding a partner who cherished his creativity and honesty. Ike the hunter found peace in his solitude but also learned to open his heart to others. Ike the trader continued his travels, but he too found love in the places he visited, someone who shared his sense of adventure. In time, Ifeoma and Ike the farmer started a family. Their home was filled with the laughter of children, the warmth of love, and the steady rhythm of life on the farm. Ifeoma took joy in raising their children, teaching them the values of hard work, kindness, and love. Ike the farmer proved to be a wonderful father, patient and loving, always ready to teach his children the ways of the land. Their life was not always easy, but it was filled with the kind of love that grew stronger with each passing year. Ifeoma knew that she had made the right choice, and as she watched her family grow, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The prophet's words had come true, but in a way that was far deeper and richer than she had ever imagined. As the years went by, Ifeoma often thought back to the time when she had been searching for the true Ike. She smiled at the memory of her confusion and doubt, realizing now that it had all been part of her journey. Each of the Ikes had taught her something valuable, and in the end, she had found the man who was truly meant for her. She had learned that love wasn't about perfection, but about finding someone who made you feel whole. She had learned that the heart knows what the mind cannot, and that true love is built on trust, respect, and companionship. And most of all, she had learned that the journey to love is just as important as the destination. Ifeoma and Ike the farmer's love story became a legend in the village, a tale of patience, perseverance, and the power of the heart. The village elders often told the story to young couples, reminding them that love was not about finding someone who fit a perfect mold, but about finding someone whose soul resonated with your own. The villagers admired the life that Ifeoma and Ike had built together, and their home became a place where people came for advice, for wisdom, and for blessings. Ifeoma and Ike welcomed everyone with open arms, sharing the love and joy they had found with all who crossed their path. As the seasons changed, the village prepared for the annual harvest festival, a time to celebrate the bounty of the land and the strength of their community. Ifeoma and Ike the farmer took great joy in this event, as it marked the fruits of their labor and the unity of their village. Ifeoma and Ike decided to host a special feast at their home, inviting their friends and neighbors to celebrate with them. They spent days preparing delicious dishes, decorating their home with colorful fabrics, and gathering the children to help with the final touches. On the day of the festival, their home was filled with laughter, music, and the aroma of freshly cooked food. The festival was a beautiful reminder of the importance of community. Villagers came together, sharing stories and laughter as they danced and sang. The children played games in the yard, their joy echoing through the air. Ifeoma watched her children play, their faces lit up with happiness, and her heart swelled with pride. As the night wore on, Ike stood beside her, his hand resting gently on her shoulder. "Look at how far we've come, Ifeoma," he said softly. "This is the life we've built together." Ifeoma turned to him, her heart full of gratitude. She knew that their love had not only created a home but had also woven them into the fabric of their community. After the harvest festival, Ifeoma and Ike made it a tradition to teach their children the values of hard work and community spirit. They took the kids with them to the farm, showing them how to plant seeds, care for the animals, and understand the rhythm of the land. One sunny afternoon, Ifeoma knelt beside her youngest child, a curious little girl named Ada. "You see, Ada, every seed we plant holds the promise of something beautiful," she explained, her hands covered in soil. "Just like our love, it needs care and attention to grow." Ada nodded, her eyes wide with understanding. As the children grew, Ifeoma also made it a point to share stories with them, just as Ike the storyteller had once done. Every evening, they would gather around the fire, and Ifeoma would weave tales of courage, love, and the lessons learned from their ancestors. She believed that stories were the threads that connected them to their past and guided them into the future. Ike would join them, adding his own stories from the farm, tales of the land and its wonders. Together, they nurtured a love for storytelling in their children, teaching them that every story held a lesson, and every lesson was a step toward wisdom. However, life was not without its challenges. One year, a drought struck the region, and the crops began to wilt under the unforgiving sun. Ifeoma and Ike faced this adversity with determination, working harder than ever to save their farm. They gathered the community, discussing ways to conserve water and share resources. The village united, each family contributing what they could. It was a reminder that they were stronger together, and as Ifeoma looked around at her neighbors, she felt a surge of hope. They would get through this together. As the drought persisted, Ifeoma and Ike remained resilient. They implemented new methods of irrigation and explored ways to protect their crops. Slowly but surely, the community's efforts began to pay off. The rains returned, and the land began to flourish once more. With the harvest season approaching, the villagers celebrated their resilience and unity. Ifeoma felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that even in the toughest times, love and community could overcome any obstacle. She realized that challenges were just part of the journey and that together, they could weather any storm. As Ifeoma and Ike navigated the ups and downs of farm life, they also grew together as a couple. They learned to communicate more openly, sharing their dreams and fears, and strengthening the bond that had brought them together in the first place. On quiet evenings, they would sit together under the stars, reflecting on their journey. "Do you remember when we first met?" Ifeoma asked one night, a smile spreading across her face. Ike chuckled, his eyes sparkling with the memory. "How could I forget? You were so determined to find the right Ike." Their shared laughter and fond memories reinforced their connection. They learned to appreciate the little moments, like the way the sun dipped below the horizon or the sound of their children's laughter. Each day, they found joy in the ordinary, realizing that these moments were what truly mattered. As their family grew, Ifeoma also began to notice the unique personalities of her children. Each of them brought their own strengths and qualities to the family. She cherished these differences, recognizing that they were a reflection of the love and unity that surrounded them. Over time, Ifeoma's wisdom and leadership began to shine within the community. The villagers sought her advice on matters of family and relationships, drawing from her experiences and insights. Ifeoma embraced this role, recognizing the importance of supporting and guiding others through their own journeys. Ike stood proudly by her side, cheering her on as she became a respected figure in the village. Together, they held workshops for young couples, sharing the lessons they had learned about love, partnership, and the value of community. As the years passed, Ifeoma and Ike celebrated many milestones together. They marked anniversaries, birthdays, and achievements with joyful gatherings. Each celebration was a reminder of the love and unity that bound their family and community together. During one particular anniversary, they invited the entire village to celebrate their love story. The air was filled with laughter, music, and the aroma of delicious food. As Ifeoma looked around at the faces of those they loved, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the life they had built together. Recognizing the importance of teaching their children about love and relationships, Ifeoma and Ike often engaged in open discussions with them. They encouraged their children to express their feelings, share their thoughts, and understand the beauty of vulnerability in relationships. One evening, as they gathered around the fire, Ifeoma asked her children, "What do you think love is?" Each child shared their own perspective, and as they spoke, Ifeoma felt a deep sense of pride. They were growing into compassionate and understanding individuals, and she knew that they would carry these lessons into their own futures. One day, a group of village elders visited Ifeoma and Ike. They had heard of the couple's reputation for wisdom and sought their guidance on fostering unity within the community. Ifeoma welcomed them with open arms, eager to share their experiences. During the conversation, Ifeoma spoke passionately about the importance of love, compassion, and open communication. The elders listened intently, nodding in agreement. They recognized that the strength of the village lay not just in its resources, but in the relationships among its people. Just when life seemed perfect, an unexpected challenge arose. A neighboring village faced a crisis due to a natural disaster, and many families were displaced. Ifeoma and Ike felt a deep sense of empathy and knew they had to help. They organized a relief effort, rallying their community to gather supplies and provide support to those in need. It was a reminder of the interconnectedness of villages and the importance of standing together in times of hardship. The villagers worked tirelessly, their hearts united in a shared purpose. Through the relief effort, Ifeoma and Ike's bond with their community deepened. They forged new friendships with those they had helped, learning about their struggles and sharing their own stories. Ifeoma realized that every relationship was an opportunity for growth and understanding. The villagers became more than just neighbors, they became a family, bound by shared experiences and mutual support. Ifeoma felt grateful for the love and connection that had blossomed in their village, a testament to the strength of the community. As they worked with families from the neighboring village, Ifeoma and Ike learned about different traditions and cultures. They celebrated the beauty of diversity, recognizing that every person brought something unique to the community. Ifeoma organized cultural exchange events, where families could share their customs, stories, and food. These gatherings fostered understanding and respect, allowing everyone to appreciate the rich tapestry of their shared humanity. The experience of helping the neighboring village taught Ifeoma and Ike a valuable lesson in resilience. They learned that life was filled with ups and downs, but it was how they responded to challenges that truly mattered. With each obstacle they faced, they grew stronger as individuals and as a couple. Ifeoma realized that the love they had built was not just a refuge from life's storms, it was a source of strength that could withstand anything. With the village flourishing and their family growing, Ifeoma and Ike decided to embark on a new project, a community garden. They envisioned a space where villagers could come together to grow food, share resources, and strengthen their bonds. The garden became a focal point for the village, a place where families could learn from one another and share in the joys of growing their own food. Ifeoma felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that they were contributing to the health and happiness of their community. As the community garden took shape, Ifeoma and Ike organized workshops for families to learn about sustainable farming practices. They invited experts to share their knowledge, ensuring that everyone had access to resources that would help them thrive. The garden flourished under the care of the villagers, and it became a symbol of unity and resilience. Ifeoma felt fulfilled watching the community come together, knowing that they were nurturing not just plants, but relationships as well. As the garden produced an abundance of fruits and vegetables, Ifeoma and Ike celebrated their success with a harvest feast. Villagers gathered to enjoy the fruits of their labor, sharing stories and laughter under the warm sun. The feast was filled with joy and gratitude, a reminder of the hard work that had brought them together. Ifeoma marveled at how far they had come, knowing that their love had been the catalyst for so many positive changes in the village. As their children grew, Ifeoma and Ike began to think about the traditions they wanted to pass down to the next generation. They wanted their children to understand the importance of love, community, and the lessons they had learned throughout their journey. One evening, they gathered their children around the fire and shared stories from their own childhoods. They spoke of challenges, triumphs, and the beauty of love that had guided them through. Their children listened intently, absorbing the wisdom passed down through generations. To honor their family and community, Ifeoma and Ike decided to host a special celebration, a family day where everyone could come together and enjoy activities, games, and food. They wanted to create lasting memories and strengthen the bonds that had been formed. The day was filled with laughter and joy, as families participated in games, shared delicious meals, and enjoyed each other's company. Ifeoma felt a sense of fulfillment as she watched her children play, knowing they were surrounded by love and support. As life continued on a beautiful path, Ifeoma faced a personal challenge that tested her heart. One of her close friends, who had been a pillar of support, fell ill. Ifeoma felt a deep sense of sorrow, knowing the pain her friend was going through. Determined to help, Ifeoma rallied the community to support her friend, organizing meal deliveries and care. In the process, she learned the importance of empathy and the power of friendship. Though it was a difficult time, the outpouring of love and support from the village reaffirmed her belief in the strength of the community. During her friend's illness, Ifeoma found solace in the love of her family. Ike stood by her side, offering support and encouragement as they navigated the challenges together. They spent time reflecting on the importance of being present for one another, and it strengthened their bond. As her friend began to recover, Ifeoma felt a renewed sense of hope. She realized that even in the darkest times, love could shine through, bringing light and healing. This experience deepened her understanding of the power of connection and the importance of supporting those in need. With her friend's health improving, Ifeoma began to explore ways to promote healing within the community. She organized wellness workshops that focused on physical, emotional, and mental well-being, encouraging villagers to take care of themselves and one another. These workshops became a safe space for villagers to share their experiences and support each other in their healing journeys. Ifeoma felt fulfilled knowing that they were creating an environment where everyone could thrive together. As the workshops progressed, Ifeoma encountered a theme that resonated with many: forgiveness. She realized that holding on to past grievances could hinder personal growth and relationships. Inspired, she organized a special session focused on the power of forgiveness. During the session, villagers shared their stories of hurt and healing, and Ifeoma guided them through the process of letting go. The room was filled with emotions, and as tears were shed, a sense of release washed over the group. Ifeoma felt honored to witness this transformation, understanding that healing often begins with forgiveness. Recognizing the importance of nature in the healing process, Ifeoma decided to organize nature walks for the community. She believed that spending time in the natural world could bring peace and clarity, helping everyone reconnect with themselves and their surroundings. The walks became a cherished activity, allowing villagers to appreciate the beauty of their land. Ifeoma encouraged them to share their thoughts and feelings as they walked, fostering a deeper connection with one another. These moments in nature became a source of inspiration and rejuvenation for everyone involved. One day, as Ifeoma was tending to her garden, she received an unexpected visit from an old acquaintance, a woman from her childhood named Amora. Amora had left the village years ago and had become a successful businesswoman in the city. She returned to share her journey and the lessons she had learned along the way. Ifeoma welcomed Amora with open arms, excited to catch up and learn about her experiences. Their conversation flowed easily as they reminisced about their childhood and discussed the challenges they faced as women. Ifeoma felt inspired by Amora's journey and realized that every path is unique, yet the essence of love and connection remains. As Amora shared her stories of success, Ifeoma saw an opportunity to bridge connections between the village and the city. They brainstormed ways to create opportunities for the villagers, exploring ideas for workshops, skill-sharing sessions, and mentorship programs. Ifeoma's heart raced with excitement as they discussed the possibilities. She believed that by bringing together the knowledge and resources of both communities, they could uplift one another. Amora was equally enthusiastic and agreed to help facilitate these connections. With Amora's support, Ifeoma began planning a series of workshops that would allow villagers to learn new skills and explore potential business opportunities. They organized sessions on entrepreneurship, crafts, and sustainable farming practices, inviting experts from the city to share their knowledge. The anticipation in the village grew as word spread about the upcoming workshops. Ifeoma felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that they were empowering their community to thrive and grow. She envisioned a future where the village could flourish with creativity and innovation. As the workshops approached, Ifeoma and Amora worked tirelessly to prepare. They reached out to local artisans, entrepreneurs, and experts, creating a diverse program that would inspire and educate. The community buzzed with excitement, eager to learn and explore new possibilities. Ifeoma's children watched her with admiration, understanding the importance of her efforts. They joined in, helping with preparations and spreading the word. Ifeoma felt a sense of pride as she saw her family coming together for a common goal, reinforcing the values of hard work and community spirit. The day of the first workshop arrived, and the village was filled with energy. Ifeoma welcomed participants with open arms, encouraging them to embrace this opportunity for growth. Amora led the opening session, sharing her journey and inspiring the villagers to believe in their potential. As the day progressed, Ifeoma watched with joy as villagers engaged in hands-on activities, sharing their skills and knowledge. It was a beautiful reminder of the strength of community and the magic that happens when people come together with a shared purpose. As the workshops continued, Ifeoma witnessed new connections forming among villagers and city visitors. People exchanged ideas, collaborated on projects, and found common ground. Ifeoma felt a sense of fulfillment as she saw friendships blossoming, recognizing the transformative power of connection. The workshops became a safe space for creativity and innovation, allowing villagers to explore their passions. Ifeoma encouraged them to take risks and believe in their abilities. She knew that this was just the beginning of a beautiful journey for their community. With newfound confidence, villagers began to pursue their dreams. Some started small businesses, while others created art and crafts to sell at the market. Ifeoma felt a surge of pride as she saw her community thrive, knowing that their efforts were making a difference. The success stories began to ripple through the village, inspiring others to take action. Ifeoma knew that every step forward was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and she felt grateful to be part of this transformative journey. To honor the achievement of the workshops, Ifeoma organized a celebration where villagers could showcase their new ventures. They transformed the village square into a vibrant marketplace, filled with stalls displaying handmade crafts, delicious foods, and innovative products. As the day unfolded, laughter and joy filled the air. Ifeoma watched with delight as villagers celebrated their hard work, sharing their successes and supporting one another. This event solidified the bonds they had formed and became a cherished tradition in the community. With the success of the workshops and the celebration, Ifeoma and Ike began to think about the long-term vision for their village. They envisioned a future where everyone felt empowered and valued, where love and support were at the forefront of community life. They decided to form a committee that would continue to explore opportunities for growth and development. Ifeoma felt invigorated by the possibilities, knowing that they were creating a legacy for their children and future generations. As Ifeoma reflected on their journey, she realized that their love story was not just about them, it was about creating a legacy of love and compassion for the community. She wanted her children to inherit a world where kindness and empathy reigned, where they could continue the work of nurturing connections. She shared this vision with Ike, who wholeheartedly agreed. Together, they committed to fostering an environment of love and support, believing that every small act of kindness could create ripples of change in the world. One evening, as Ifeoma was preparing dinner, an unexpected visitor arrived at their doorstep, an old friend from the past, Chijioke. Chijioke had traveled far and wide, and he came bearing stories of adventure and wisdom. Ifeoma welcomed him warmly, eager to hear about his travels. As they sat around the dinner table, Chijioke shared tales of different cultures and experiences, reminding them of the beauty of diversity in the world. Ifeoma felt inspired by his stories, eager to learn and grow. Chijioke's visit sparked a desire in Ifeoma to expand their understanding of the world. She began to organize gatherings where villagers could share stories from their travels and learn about different cultures. These sessions became a way to celebrate diversity and foster a sense of global community. As stories were shared, the village became a hub of knowledge and connection. Ifeoma felt grateful for the richness of their experiences, understanding that the more they learned about each other, the stronger their bonds would become. Through the storytelling gatherings, Ifeoma noticed a shift in the villagers' perspectives. They began to cultivate empathy and understanding, recognizing that every person's journey was unique. This newfound appreciation for diversity deepened their connections and enriched their community. Ifeoma felt a sense of fulfillment knowing that they were creating a safe space for dialogue and connection. The stories exchanged became a bridge that connected hearts and minds, fostering an environment of love and respect. As the village continued to evolve, Ifeoma and Ike embraced change with open hearts. They recognized that growth often required stepping outside of their comfort zones and adapting to new circumstances. Ifeoma encouraged villagers to embrace change as an opportunity for growth. Together, they explored innovative ideas for improving their community, fostering a spirit of collaboration and creativity. To celebrate the diversity within the village, Ifeoma organized a cultural day. This event was designed to honor the various backgrounds and traditions of the villagers, allowing everyone to showcase their heritage. On the day of the celebration, the village square transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors, music, and food. Villagers set up booths representing their cultures, sharing traditional dances, foods, and stories. Ifeoma felt overwhelmed with joy, witnessing the beauty of unity in diversity. Music played a significant role in the celebration, bringing people together in joyous harmony. Local musicians performed, and villagers danced freely, their laughter echoing through the air. Ifeoma felt a sense of peace as she joined in the festivities, knowing that music had the power to connect hearts. As they danced, Ifeoma realized that love and joy could transcend language and cultural barriers. It was a beautiful reminder of the common threads that unite humanity, and she cherished every moment of the celebration. However, amidst the joy of the cultural day, Ifeoma faced a new challenge. The village began to experience tensions as some individuals struggled to adapt to the changes and new ideas being introduced. Ifeoma knew that fostering understanding was crucial for maintaining harmony. Determined to address the situation, Ifeoma organized a community meeting where villagers could voice their concerns and share their thoughts. She believed that open dialogue could bridge the gaps and foster a deeper understanding among everyone. During the community meeting, Ifeoma encouraged everyone to speak openly and honestly. As concerns were raised, villagers began to share their feelings, fears, and hopes for the future. Ifeoma listened attentively, acknowledging the validity of each perspective. Through conversation, the villagers began to see each other as individuals rather than representatives of different viewpoints. Ifeoma felt a sense of hope as she witnessed healing taking place through their willingness to communicate and connect. In the aftermath of the meeting, Ifeoma initiated small group discussions where villagers could come together to share their thoughts in a more intimate setting. This allowed for deeper connections and understanding among those who might have felt isolated or unheard. The small group discussions fostered a sense of belonging and community, and Ifeoma felt encouraged as she watched relationships blossom. The village began to heal, as empathy and understanding replaced division. With the village gradually coming together, Ifeoma realized the ripple effect of their efforts. As individuals found their voices and connected with one another, they began to spread kindness and support throughout the community. Ifeoma's heart swelled with pride as she witnessed this transformation. She knew that the love they had cultivated was creating a lasting impact, inspiring others to embrace compassion and understanding. Recognizing the importance of nurturing future generations, Ifeoma and Ike began to focus on youth programs within the village. They wanted to instill the values of love, empathy, and connection in their children, ensuring that the lessons learned would be carried forward. They organized mentorship programs where older villagers could guide and support the younger generation, sharing their experiences and wisdom. Ifeoma felt a sense of purpose, knowing that they were investing in a brighter future. To encourage creativity among the youth, Ifeoma organized art and music workshops. She believed that self-expression was a powerful tool for healing and connection. The village square buzzed with excitement as children painted, sang, and created together. Ifeoma felt a sense of joy as she watched the children explore their creativity, understanding that art had the power to unite people from diverse backgrounds. It was a celebration of individuality and togetherness, and she felt grateful to witness their growth. With the youth actively engaged and flourishing, Ifeoma felt a renewed sense of hope for the future of the village. She knew that the love and support they had cultivated would create a lasting legacy for generations to come. Together with Ike, they continued to inspire the community to embrace love, understanding, and compassion. They envisioned a future where everyone felt valued and empowered, where kindness would reign supreme. As the village thrived, Ifeoma received exciting news: her eldest daughter, Ebo, had become engaged. The family gathered to celebrate this beautiful milestone, their hearts full of joy and pride for Ebo and her fiancé, who had also been raised in the village. Ifeoma felt a rush of emotions as she watched her daughter prepare for this new chapter in her life. It was a testament to the love and values they had instilled in their children, and she couldn't wait to support Ebo as she embarked on this journey of love. The wedding preparations began in earnest, with Ifeoma and Ike fully involved in planning the special day. They wanted it to reflect the love and unity that had become the cornerstone of their family. As they worked together, Ifeoma and Ike shared memories of their own wedding and the lessons they had learned throughout their journey. They infused their wisdom into the planning, ensuring that the celebration would honor both the couple and the community. The day of Ebo's wedding arrived, and the village transformed into a beautiful celebration of love. Flowers adorned every corner, and the air was filled with laughter and excitement. Villagers came together to help, showcasing the spirit of community that Ifeoma and Ike had nurtured over the years. As the ceremony unfolded, Ifeoma felt a sense of pride as she watched her daughter exchange vows. It was a beautiful reminder of the love that had brought them all together, and she cherished every moment. After Ebo's wedding, Ifeoma reflected on the legacy of love they had built as a family. She realized that their journey had been more than just a search for the right partner. It had been about creating a life filled with compassion, understanding, and joy. As Ifeoma looked at her family, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. They had created a home where love flourished, and she knew that their legacy would continue to inspire future generations. As the years passed, Ifeoma and Ike's bond only grew stronger. They continued to support one another through life's challenges and celebrated every triumph together. Their love story became a beacon of hope for others in the village, a reminder that love could conquer all. Ifeoma often thought back to her journey, from the moment she saw the right Ike to the life they had built together. She knew that every twist and turn had led them to this beautiful place, and she cherished every memory. As Ifeoma watched her children grow, she felt a sense of awe at the circle of life. She understood that their love story was just one thread in the fabric of their community, woven together with countless others. With gratitude in her heart, Ifeoma continued to nurture the values of love and connection within her family and community. She believed that by sharing their stories, they could inspire others to embrace the power of love in their own lives. In the twilight of her life, Ifeoma reflected on her journey with a sense of peace. She had lived a life rich in love, compassion, and connection. Her story, intertwined with the lives of those around her, had created a lasting legacy that would endure for generations. As she sat under the stars with Ike by her side, Ifeoma felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey they had shared. Their love had been a guiding light, illuminating the path for others and creating a world where love truly matters. The love story of Ifeoma and Ike became a cherished tale in the village, passed down through generations. It served as a reminder that love could transform lives, heal wounds, and unite communities, creating a ripple effect that spread far beyond the village.